Hello, everyone. Okay, so this will be a technique, like little tip trick technique thing that you can use for joining. These are just normal red heart super saver yarn. So most worsted medium weight yarn that's acrylic based. This is my favorite method to join when I'm working on a long project without having to use a knot. You can use magic knot, and I might show that in a different video. But Russian Splice is just to add this in there without having or connecting two skeins together once you finish one, and you don't have some funky, weird little knot sticking out, texture weirdness that I call it when I have something crocheted like an Afghan or blanket throw, and nothing's worse than, to me, my OCDness for textures. It's feeling a knot on a blanket that's against your skin when you tie a little knot. I used to do that a lot, honestly, and I've grown up by learning and doing this technique. I'm not sure why it's called a Russian splice. I'm just going to call it a splice, typically, method here. Now, in the class, I showed two different colors just to demonstrate the contrast and showing how one color ends and begins on the same strand. But I think I'm going to show it on the same color here just so I can demonstrate the seamlessness of it with one color. Overall, the seamlessness, there is still a little noticeable difference with this, but again, nothing's going to be really perfect. So get one of your strand, like pretend this is the working end of one skein, and this is the project end working yarn that you're kind of running short on because you've ran out. So begin with one of them and go ahead and get that on your needle. Okay. And then when you look at your yarn here, I'm going to do this twisting here just so you can see, demonstrate the strands in this that make this up. There is 4, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 threads that are twisted to combine this yarn. Those threads there. Sorry, forgive my my reading lamp here is weird. It's blinking on me. Sorry, folks, if that's annoying. So you see those strands. What I'm going to do is insert my needle. Now, kind of give this actually a bigger tail. Into this same strand. And what you're going to do is, there's no set way. You're going to insert that blunt needle into that yarn, like so, go in between those threads. You're kind of going to go willy-nilly. So go dive back into it, surface up, and then dive back into it. Kind of follow those strands. And maybe go about 3 or 4 inches into that yarn. We're doing this, you'll see how I'm kind of bunching it on the needle now. So just keep doing that. You can kind of squish it down a little bit as you're working this. Maybe about 3 inches, maybe in. You'll get a hang of this once you do this enough. I think that's probably good enough, and I've intentionally left a little loop here from the tail because this is going to be really important, and you're going to want to hold on to that to keep it. I'm right-handed, so I'm going to pull the needle on my right hand. So I'm going to pinch this little loop here because I don't want to lose it. And you're going to grab your needle and you're going to pull it away. I'm going to pull it this way. So I'm going to pull this way. So grab that, pull, and you'll feel this like resistance, and that's fine because it's how it's supposed to be. And once I know my tail here, I'm not going to lose that loop. I'll let go of it. And I'm going to grab this excess and kind of like push it down. So now it's on the eye more, and I'm going to grab my little loop here again, and I'm going to pull pretty firmly on this and threading it through. Again, grab this little scrunched up here, pull it through. You see the tail right now is going to work back into that yarn. There we go. That's what we need to do. And it'll look like that. And then I'm going to keep my finger in this loop. I don't want to lose it. And I'm going to pull on this and kind of straighten it out a little bit more. Give it some tugs. It's pretty good now. It's not going to go anywhere. I'm going to grab on the tail, tug on it, kind of just straighten this back out. There. Oh, pretend it's connected. And we're going to repeat this process on the other end now. The only thing is we're going to thread it through that loop that we maintained. So thread that on, pull it through, give yourself a good amount of tail, and then go through that loop. So it is locked, not locked in, I guess, but through that loop. I'm going to pull this away out of the way. And we're going to repeat this process into this strand now. So just dive in there into that thread and go through a few of them. Little surface, down, push it through, some strands. Again, just going up and down through the yarn as much as you can in much little space as possible. Probably about 2-3 inches here. Maybe just a little bit more. Okay. Same thing. Here's the piece that we inserted through. We kind of want to leave a loop. So I'm going to squish and pull this down. And then we're going to pull it through. And we just need the tail to come through. Sorry, that was a bad showing there. This is all getting kind of messy now. So there we go. I pulled it through. Again, like the other one, I'm going to pull these other ends here, give it some tugs so it. Okay. So here's my working end from my work. Here's the working end from the new skein. Now that we've joined them, see how it created a little interlock here? So I'm going to grab that working end of the yarn and pull on it. Make sure it's taut. And sorry, the tail end. This is the working end of the yarn of the piece. I'm going to pull on it. Now I'm going to pinch the loop here on this other one. And what I'm going to do is pull on this working end pretty tight. And then you're going to feel it now that that loop here is gone. We've cinched it. So here's your working end. Now that we've cinched it, this tail is excess that we need to get rid of. Cut it as close as you can. See, now that we've cinched it, see there's that cinched loop, and here's the loop on the other end. Now we're going to repeat it on this side. So here's the working end. I'm going to hold this other end here on the first one. And this is the go leading to the new skein of yarn. And I'm going to pull on that pretty tight, and it just closed the loop. It just cinched it. It does, you want to give it a nice tug. There we go. Now that we've tugged it, you'll look here, the loops are gone, they're cinched, and you can barely feel them on the yarn. It's kind of inconsequential now. So get that tail that we just pulled here and clip it as close as you can. And there we go. Now that you can tug on this and play and give it some tests, it's not going to go anywhere. But I am kind of working up the ends there of the yarn. You can always go back and just readjust and trim some more. So now when I'm crocheting, this is slightly thicker than this, but not by much. So when I'm crocheting with this, it'll just blend into the stitch. You might notice the stitch just be a little bit fluffier because it's thicker yarn here at this section. This 4-inch piece, maybe 4-inch, 5-inch piece section here. But you know what? You don't have knots. You're not doing stupid things where people cut acrylic yarn and burn the ends and touch them together and melt them together. That is asinine. Do not do that. Plus, it's a fire hazard. So now you can work with this connected with your work and just keep working with it. It won't be noticeable at all. So I'll see everyone later.